Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, surfacers and deep dwellers, to Skygate, our new 5e campaign. This is going to be a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons campaign. The 6 players here before you. I am Matthew, I'll be your DM, and this campaign is primarily going to be set in a location called Skygate, which is a Dwarven city that sees itself, at the very least, as the last line of defense between the surface world and the horrors of the Underdark below. But we're not at Skygate yet. We are somewhere else entirely. Nearby, but not quite there. To begin with, we are going to start with Axel and Zeraxis.
Which one of you motherfuckers is Zeraxis?
Which one of you motherfuckers is Axel? Is it you?
Axel and Zeraxis, the two of you have been traveling for some time to get to Skygate for a new business opportunity. Two of you met just outside of a place called the Landscar Canyon, which you know houses this city, and have been traveling along the Landscar Canyon to get to this city. And really quickly, I'm just going to I have a little blurb to describe what you're seeing as you guys are finally, after traveling on this road for some time, arriving to the city above the city of Skygate, which is Darkcap. Nestled deep within the Landscar Canyon, Darkcap is a city built in shadowy crevices and along sheer rock walls. Smoke rises from the huge collection of ramshackle huts and shanties and weaves around rickety balconies and rope bridges. A large fungal forest lines the base of this canyon due to its lack of light and the murky river that runs through it. These massive pale mushrooms surround the city, and much of the construction of the city appears to be made from the wood-like mushroom stalks. Caravans of goods come and go past you on the winding road that traces the canyon floor along the river, and the city street is filled with vendors peddling wares and travelers from far and wide. A rickshaw palace is settled into the far end of this canyon and clings and climbs along the walls to the canyon's end. A jutting stone gateway is tucked into the center of the city and sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the city's construction. As you enter through these gates, a white tiger tabaxi wearing a partial set of plate armor and a white hooded tabard eyes you as well as other comers and goers suspiciously from a wooden gatehouse above. Axel, you and Zeraxis were told in your most recent missive from your new business partner, Drarian, that one of your other compatriots would be meeting you here in Darkcap before you proceed into the city. They said that individual was named Theogar, and that they would meet you at a local tavern in Darkcap called Pedron's. At that point, they said that Ginny, which you know, Axel, would be meeting you guys at the entrance to Skygate itself to take the 3 of you to the first business meeting.
Gotcha. What was the name of the bar?
The bar is Pedron's.
Pedron's. Alright, Zeraxis. We're looking for a bar named Pedron's.
It's gonna be quite the ordeal to go find this. It's not
Not
a small town.
Where's Pedro's?
Who are you asking? Are you asking Tiger Guy? The Tiger Guy up on the...
Yeah.
Okay. He kind of like glances down at you. Pedron's?
Yeah. Is the bar here?
Follow the road, straight on. You'll go past 3 or 4 tents on the left. You'll see a large, purpley blue mess. That's Pedron's.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Don't cause any trouble.
Well, we're going to Pedron's, so maybe a little bit of trouble?
No trouble.
No, come on.
No trouble.
I'm just gonna come from behind and start pushing Axel. Like, let's go.
Let me get a quick description of first Axel, and then we will get a description of Zeraxis. What do you guys look like?
Axel is a white human male. Few seen in these parts. He's
Truly a minority.
He truly looks like just, I would say, big fry cook energy. if you just imagine like the kind of like tall lanky dude that works as a fry cook, that would probably be Axel. to the most degree. It's an excellent likeness of my imagining of him on screen there. He's just kind of like a little bit of a hippie looking dude. But he is, I guess, as he's described at this moment, he'll be wearing studded leather armor, and he has a quarterstaff that he walks with that has like runes and stuff carved in it. And he has a scabbard on his hip, and just like a big pack of shit that he carries around. Yeah,
Okay.
that's our guy.
That is our guy. That is Axel. And Zeraxis.
Zeraxis is a tiefling. He is he's all blue with a couple of scars on his face. He has 2 kind of gold points of like war paint on kind of deal. And he's kind of the bruiser paladin, so he's carrying 2 big weapons on his back, a great sword and a great axe. And he's also wearing I completely forgot to write down like heavy armor. Or, I think it was like
I think you have splint or something.
Splint.
like that
Splint.
on.
That's
Yeah.
splint armor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like more heavy, and he's also just got a helmet on his head.
Right on. The 2 of you start making your way down the street, I assume following the directions from this tabaxi individual who's...
We're gonna go a different bar. We show up plastered.
so plastered to the other
Four
bar.
lines.
As you head down, exactly as you said, a couple tents. You see a kind of large ramshackle tent set up that has the same kind of blues and purplish colors. And entering in, you see a decently bustling place. There's, again, the street is overwhelmed with people at the moment, but inside of here there is a large collection of all sorts of different races and individuals, and they're kind of scattered all about. Primarily orcs and humans, which is the primary races that kind of populate the surface in this area, which is the Ursica Craglands, which is kind of this area of 2 big mountain ranges. Mostly orcs and humans, but there's kind of a hodgepodge of all sorts of things. Cutting over to a different individual, Theogar. Theogar, you arrived here sometime before they did, and were told that they would meet you at this establishment. Entering in, what would you have done when you first arrived here?
Probably just chat with the barkeep. Get an idea of what kind of bar it is, I guess.
Okay. Well, walking up to the bar, you see a pretty elderly half-orc man. He's got a shaved head and face, and he wears small spectacles kind of on the end of his nose and a leather apron over the top of kind of regular ragtag clothes. And entering in, he seems a bit doddering. He's kind of old and moves kind of slow, but like his eyes light up seeing you approach towards the bar top, and would absolutely walk up to you and be like, "Hail, traveler! What can I get for you?"
Your finest ale.
Are you a Baron's Ale sort, or are you wanting something a bit more local? You know that Baron's Ale is the drink of the Craglands. Everyone drinks Baron's Ale on the surface. He says, I also, for a small upper price, can provide you with Bronze Brew, the finest from the Dwarf Hold below.
I'll try the bronze brew.
And are you hungry? Perhaps a truffle spud?
Sure.
Oh, for the total it'll be 1 silver, 6 copper pieces. And he will leave and come back with a tankard of a kind of golden ale, as well as what clearly looks like a mushroom gravy stuffed baked potato.
That sounds delicious.
That sounds
And
really
sets
good.
the 2 in front of you. Thank you for your business. Any news of your travels? What brought you here?
Well, it's a long story. I don't know how much you want to hear.
All of it.
Right now. Great.
If you don't want to share your entire backstory over this, whatever, just you can kind of give like the rundown. This guy seems like he likes gossip and tales and just wants to talk with people. So if whatever you feel like sharing, you can tell me what that is.
I'll let him know that I'm the second son of Duke Mikhail of Karkazov. And I recently helped lead a rebellion in our city to take it back from my uncle. And now I am traveling for business, is all I'll say.
He seems like he's like, from the From the Greys. Oh, very interesting. And he seems like he's all about wants to know any details you're willing to tell him about the nature of the uprising. He seems like the story is just very fun and interesting to him. And as the two of you enter in, you don't necessarily know who this individual is, but there is someone sitting at the bar, seeming to be talking to an elderly orc man. And what does he look like?
He's another white human male, somewhat average build, with shoulder length, dark hair, a few scars from battles he's been in as part of the rebellion. Has like a very fine, like nobleman's cloak and fancy mail armor.
Oh, that smells delicious. Hey, bud, what'd you get?
I don't remember what it was called.
Truffle Spud!
Oh,
Would you like one?
what's it stuffed with?
In retrospect, the
Mushroom
name makes
gravy.
complete sense.
That sounds delicious. I'll have what he's
in
at.
retrospect,
And
the name makes
your
complete
friend?
sense.
Yeah, sure.
Anything to drink. Baron's Ale, Bronze Brew. That's all I got.
Oh, I love me some bronze brew.
Bronze Brew?
I'll pass on the drink thing.
All right. That'll be 1 silver for the truffle spud, 1 silver, and 6 copper for the drink and the truffle spud. I will be right back.
Not sure.
1 silver.
Well,
It's a 10 to 10.
It's a 10 silvers, 1 gold.
Okay.
The previous ruling, for those of you in Devils of the West, stands. If you intentionally give away money to make your math better, I will make a boss enemy scarier in some capacity, mechanically,
Yeah, so
in a fight.
you can't just overpay to make math convenient. Or
Unless you want to make a boss fight unwinnable by the end of the campaign. I don't know. It's up to you. After a little bit of time coming back, again, he moves with lots of gusto and excitement for life, but at like an elderly kind of doddering age. So he's excitedly moving very slowly towards you. He has 2 of those mushroom gravy stuffed baked potatoes, as well as a tankard of that golden ale, and sets it on front. And those of you drinking the ale, it's great. It's very good. It's just a very, very potable, fine, good drink.
I would hope it's potable.
it's you. Those on the surface are used to like. It's probably Baron's Ale is the like go-to drink of the area. Bronze Brew it's like a craft beer. If you like that kind of stuff.
How do we find the food?
The truffle spud is very good. It is a bacon stuffed with mushroom gravy, or excuse me, baked potato stuffed with mushroom gravy. Hard to go
Bacon
wrong.
stuck with. I like that idea better.
Oh, I'll have to remember this. I haven't messed with mushroom. Are there a lot of mushrooms down in Skygate?
Absolutely. You think there's a lot in the ravine here, down underground. Fine delicacies. Most of mine are local fauna, but every now and then I'll mix a bit of chopped up, finer stuff from the caverns if a merchant comes through.
I'll have to get myself a field guide.
I'm sure they have them somewhere. What brings the 2 of you here?
Oh, we're working for a Vickelroy expeditions.
Vickelroy. Can't say I've heard of it. But you're here for business too, are you not?
Yes.
Who are you working? Who are you working?
Axel,
This Vickelroy.
Oh, are you?
Small world!
Well,
Are you Thagar?
I told you to be meeting me here, right? You must be Axel and
Zrax.
C name.
He's a real charmer, right?
Yeah.
He's got good taste in food, at least. I'll give him that.
Yep. That for sure.
Glad you like it. If you need anything else, just holler.
There we go.
You pass
Well,
me one
there you
of
go.
the lenses.
Good to meet you.
That's clear.
Glad we could find each other so easily in this bustling little metropolis we're in.
This isn't the city I lived in, right?
No, this
This is
is.
probably a lot smaller.
This is-
He's a lot smaller.
I mean, the city you lived in with your family for a stretch of time, this is smaller than that city. It's like a decent sized city, but there's only like tents and rickety buildings. It seems like everything would blow away in a big wind. Like it's a huge spanning space, but nothing seems very permanent or solid anywhere.
Something that could go quickly if.
My theory is that they're ready to scatter as soon as somebody turns up with like tax dues or something like that.
That's.
I mean, for those of you who are from anywhere near this area would know that Dark Cap is as a city only exists because Skygate exists. It was essentially a bunch of merchants who camped out on top of it, and eventually somebody said, "Hey, I'm king of all these people," and they were like, "Yeah, he's got guards, sure."
Well,
and
I didn't
so
vote
now,
for him.
and so now it's a city, and now they have their taxes and stuff, but it's very free and loose. And the only real thing keeping it from being conquered by anybody else is an aggressive act on Darkcap would be considered an aggressive act on Skygate because you're blocking their access to the world. So they kind of have this net immunity from anyone who would want to cause any
Until
trouble.
Skygate gets sick of it.
Well,
For the time being, apparently they like whatever deal they got go.
fair enough.
They don't have to go down and be in the scary bit, and they can still see the sky.
That's right.
Alright. Well, I guess we can plan on headed out in the morning.
Sure.
You're arriving fairly early in the day.
Oh. Well, let's eat our breakfast.
Let's drink away the rest of
How much does your penny
Did I stutter?
You would know that this evening was meant to be the first business meeting, so it's kind of like it's probably getting close-ish to midday.
Okay. Well, let's eat our lunch and then we can wander on in.
Have you gotten word on where we're meeting after this?
Oh, we're meeting with Robin?
Ginger.
What was her name?
Jenny.
Jenny.
Wasn't even
Robin
close.
Ginger.
Robin Ginger. Jenny, you were told, would meet you at the entrance to Skygate
Alright.
in your most recent missive.
You can say that one out loud. You don't have to listen to that. She thinks I'm gonna be Grimes, where I'm just like, I have so many ladies and I can't remember any of their names.
Ah, yes, of course. This is actually not Axel. This is the soul inhabiting the body. Axel. So,
We could have made that last boss fight a lot easier if we'd gotten one more level up in that campaign.
I'm glad you did. You still won.
Still one.
Doesn't matter. Still won. So,
Yeah.
where are you guys heading from Petrons?
I guess.
Assuming you're heading somewhere.
Well, I guess we have a little bit of time. Do we need any provisions? Are you guys all stocked up?
I'm good.
I am prepared for the business we're planning ahead of time.
I want to talk to. I want to stop by a grocer's real quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask the grocer if they know of like anyone who would have a field guide on like mushrooms of Skygate or mushrooms.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion. Just for how well you talk to people in there. There's not really like a grocer's itself. There's lots of small stands along the street that sell different
Someone that has
dry
mushrooms.
goods and stuff.
Yeah, I'll look
Yeah,
for a
there's
mushroom
definitely
stand.
somebody who has mushrooms and stuff of the kind of format.
Listen, I have to get this in while I'm thinking about it. That's only a 9er.
Asking around, they basically say that if you're looking for information on the kind of ravine-dwelling mushrooms, any of the people around here would be happy to help you identify them if they're like at the little stalls here. It's kind of communal in the way they talk about this stuff. However, the stuff from like underground, most of them have very little knowledge of. They said you probably have to find a bookstore or something in the dwarf town to get any information on that.
Fair enough.
So there's lots of experts down there though that go on these guides and the like.
Listen, we're going down on these expeditions for money. You know what sounds like is worth some money? Mushrooms. Mushrooms. They're not talking about mushrooms. Get back to work. Alright, sorry. That was my little derailment. We can head over to the Skygate
Okay.
entrance.
We desperately need.
Where are you heading to?
Well, wasn't there an entrance to Skygate?
There is an entrance to Skygate here.
We don't know where it is.
I mean, where are you heading in the town to go to the entrance to Skygate?
Down.
I'm assuming we're heading to like the center of town to find it.
A brief reiteration of that. There is a huge stunning thing made out of rocks that doesn't blend in with anything else around.
The giant thing over
the
here.
giant
Let's-
That's probably a good place to start. Kind of fairly centrally in Darkcap, there is a large stone jutting gateway.
Dark cap because it's it's a mushroom and it's over the top of the. I see you.
Nothing gets past you.
Totally forgot about the giant spider.
Except for that whole evil juice thing in Devil's
It's imagery.
Different character.
It's a metaphor.
It's symbolism.
Symbolism. So, getting to it is a very wide gateway. There is kind of stairways on either side and a massive, slowly or fairly quickly, really downward moving ramp. And you can see it's wide enough for multiple carts to go down and past each other. And another little blurb as you guys walk down the steps here. With each step you descend down the massive stairway, the passage widens. and after what feels like miles, you reach a massive open gateway. You guys walk for a long time. You go very deep. These giant bronze doors are at least 15 feet thick and have massive clockwork locking mechanisms on both sides. The doorway opens into a grand entryway lined with statues depicting Dwarven heroes of old. One statue is currently being worked on by what you can only assume is a giant, at least 18 feet tall, stone gray skin, wearing a scaled pelt. He wears a magnifying monocle and etches away with a set of comically small tools compared to his massive hands on the fine details of a bearskin cloak on a Dwarven hero depicted by the statue. At the end of this grand entry hall, there is a second set of equally massive bronze doors, similar to the others with locking mechanisms on both sides, and this opens into the city of Skygate proper. The city sprawls through a huge hollowed mountain interior, filling it completely with huge buildings carved into the cavern walls and massive bridges connecting them. The little spaces between them are filled with smaller freestanding buildings of varied construction and countless street vendor carts. Individuals of all species and backgrounds, mostly dwarves, move about the streets. One in particular, a small figure in full plate with a white hooded tabard, approaches the three of you. And stepping forward, you see this small figure who kind of winds up the front panel, the faceplate of this helmet, revealing the face of a goblin, and says, "Greetings! What brings you here to Skygate?"
We're working for a Vickelroy Expeditions.
Vickelroy. I think I've heard of that business. How rude. Surmunta, the Valiant. And he extends a little hand to shake yours.
Surmunta, glad to meet you.
Shakes your hand, tries to shake each of yours.
I was kind of like staring at that.
You reach to shake yours?
No.
Get some
Friendly. So, here for business. You're outsiders. I'm not trying to shake you down or anything. I'm part of the Knights of the Pale. We're just an organization that keeps the area safe. Wanted to make sure you're not troublemakers, to be honest with you. But more importantly, there's been a big increase in disappearances in the city recently. Look out for yourselves here. Outsiders, I think, are more likely to be taken than anyone else. So just step careful. Don't go into dark alleys and the like. And if you see anything questionable, find someone who looks like me and kind of like shakes the white tabard that he has on, or find any of the Skygate clan. They're all about the city, making sure that there's no trouble.
What do they look like?
Well, they're dwarves in armor. Some of them have padlocks on their helmets.
Gotcha.
Afraid things are gonna get at their heads. I've never been down deep enough to be worried about that, but apparently that's a problem around here.
That's good to know.
Yep.
Koskin. Meta.
Well, I'm just thinking, I might be
Says, and if anything you need, happy to help.
Sounds good. Let's see. Jenny they didn't mention like where by the Skygate we should look for them, or just that they would be here. Did they give us a family name, or is it just Jenny?
You've met Jenny.
Oh.
She's the person who's kind of come back and forth and has like talked to you to like kind of set up the business stuff.
Oh, okay.
You would know that Jenny's last name, I believe, is Stoutbridge,
Stoutbridge. So she's a
and she is a halfling.
Oh, she's.
racist.
I guess.
I met her. I know that she's a. Listen, Axel knows. Maddie G does not know.
Yes, Jenny Stoutbridge. You know that she is a halfling with brown hair. Usually wears pretty simple clothes, a headband to kind of tie everything back. And go ahead and roll me a perception.
Okay.
As we start, like the moment we break away from the goblin, I'm also just gonna keep an eye because I'm from behind us because I get the gut-seeking feeling he's also gonna try and pickpocket us as we walk away.
That's racist.
What was your perception?
Bad.
16.
16. You see Jenny is nearby this gate. You see she's currently at a street vendor buying some food. It doesn't seem to be paying attention to the gate. You watch this goblin like a hawk and he kind of waves goodbye, turns, and the next kind of strange looking group of people that walks up, he's like, "Hey, what brings you to the city?" and starts talking to them.
Alright, I'll like stop. Well, the moment he starts like talking to somebody else, I look away.
Okay,
I would like to roll a stealth to try to sneak up on
Roll
Jenny
it.
at the.
roll it.
Oh, it's only a 6.
It's only a 6. As you start kind of walking up, you kind of see your shoulders tense a little bit. It's like, you watching? Axel!
On your lunch
About
break, huh, Jenny?
time. Well, would have been my only my breakfast break here if I didn't have to sit around for hours waiting for you to walk down the stairs.
It's a long set of stairs.
She hands some coins and grabs this little skewer of strange cubes of meat. And is like, alright, come with me.
What kind of meat's that?
Oh, it's good though.
That's the correct way to eat meat.
Street meat. Dwarf for all I know.
Fair enough.
More likely outsiders.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. A lot
The
of
disappearing outsiders might explain this.
Street meat is people. I just love the idea that the vendor like starts getting all shifty-eyed, like, who's asking what kind of meat it is?
Candle, Lala, and Dermir. You were all told in your most recent missives from Drarian that today would be the first meeting of your new venture. And you were all told to meet at a local place, the Inverted Peaks, which is a local office and apartment building in the city. Those of you who don't know the location would easily be able to ask around and find it. The Inverted Peaks are essentially fairly high up in the workings of the city, and it's a kind of collection of massive stalactites that have been hollowed out and turned into office spaces and living spaces with bridges connecting them.
That is pretty sweet.
And you would probably, Candle, you would specifically know that Drarian has operated out of there for a couple of months now. You were told this kind of afternoon this afternoon that the first meeting would be happening. The three of you, what is your personality as far as like when would you show up? Who would be getting there first? Who would be getting there early, and who would be showing up after this is all started?
That depends entirely, I think, on how sober I am.
How sober are you?
D100. D100.
This is percentage sober.
Right there.
That is 6% sober.
We'll get back to it.
You are shit-faced.
Lala? Oh, is this the same role? Oh, good. The locals are all alcoholics.
7%?
Holy man, dirty.
I would be. Yes, we are certainly out drinking together. It's whether or not like Sir Jaxie's also there and also drunk.
Probably.
Probably.
I'm there precisely on time.
Precisely on time. All right.
Like to the.
We'll start with the two of you who are drinking. For the sake that we're going to say that the two of you were out drinking with Sir Jaxel Trafe Hashrani Axeldeem, the knight to whom you squire for. He, however, got a bit of the tumblies in his stomach and decided to adjourn for a little while. And the two of you, which drinking establishment would you be at?
I've actually
The
got
purple
it.
worm.
I've got a
That's
decent.
not a location.
I've got a
That
decent
isn't shop,
amount. I've got a decent amount of gold still.
Okay.
So it's probably one of the nicer ones. It's probably either. It's probably either the window or the bronze tap. My guess is the bronze tap, especially if we're this drunk and showing up this
The
late.
Bronze Tap is the biggest, rowdiest bar in town. It would make pretty good sense that you are there. You know, they have lots of options for drink. You know that they have some options for food. If you order enough food, they also give you some Fireflex, I believe they're called, which are basically like spicy little crunchy dough flakes that are amazing and delicious. You can buy them themselves, or you can just pop them. If you order enough beer, they just bring you a tray of them usually.
I
So
don't.
you always get a couple of trays.
I assume you guys are probably just drinking bronze brew, unless you're feeling wine or feeling particularly brave. And you know that there's kind of a local shop that is a crowd pleaser when anyone ever orders it, which is the Purple Splatter, a dilute bit of purple worm venom that antitoxin shooter is dropped into, frothing violently and then chugged. Think like the Irish car bomb, but with actual poison.
With rattlesnake poison.
And antitoxin to help it be potable.
I want one, but I feel like that's going to be more of a celebratory drink.
Yeah.
So
Just bronze
probably
brew for the
just-
time being.
Probably just beer.
Yes.
For the sake of this, you guys have been here for some time, been drinking some bronze brew. Are you going to have like hung out here and be a little late, probably, because you've been drinking
Yes.
this much?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
The bar is rowdy, it's fun, there is multiple, you know that the Bronze Tap clan, this is their biggest, the Bronze Taps are on every bar in town, pretty much, this is the biggest, rowdiest one, and there's usually 3 or 4 musical acts going on, often simultaneously and too close together. The place is bustling. It's midday. Dwarves are drinking.
And you're a bard.
Dwarves
right?
are awake.
You're a bard, and I can play the lute. So there's a probably with us this drunk. There's probably an unlicensed
There's
musical act
absolutely
going
a Bronze Brew bard guy who is there, who is playing what looks like kind of like a metal mandolin. He's got some mushrooms kind of tied into his hair, and he's very just like wavy gravy man in the way he plays. And if you guys just want to jam sesh with him, he would absolutely let you join.
Yeah.
You guys are jam session at the Bronze Tap. Hell yeah.
There you go.
Jermier, you show up on time and no one is there. Arriving at the Inverted Peaks, are you waiting outside, or are you going to be kind of going in to the actual building itself? Entering in, there's a small like foyer office area that behind the desk of which you can see a Dwarven woman who has bright white hair, kind of in a big beehive updo. And she's wearing pretty colorful, nice clothing. You can also see sitting on the counter of the kind of desk she sits at is a large glass bowl that is full of crystally looking blue rocks.
Click Clack Rocks, my favorite.
Yes.
And she's looking, oh honey, what can I do for you?
Oh, I have an appointment.
You must be one of the new business people with Drare.
Yeah.
I think he was gonna wait till the lot of you got here. So take a seat. Feel free to have some rock candy while you wait.
Very well.
If you need water or anything, just shout. Honey Flint beer. She extends a hand to shake yours.
Wow.
And then I'll grab the cake.
It's blue raspberry rock candy, and it's amazing.
Nice.
Hey, what doesn't suck about this place?
All of it.
I don't know. This whole town seems too good.
Yeah, that's the point.
You guys are only leaving?
Why are we going into the dark, scary hole?
Money.
Oh, right.
So we can
into the
live
dark,
in the
scary
nice.
hole.
So we can live in the nice city with all the good food.
Dermir, you sit for a little while. After some time, the door opens, and entering in, you
Probably
see...
still playing instruments.
No, you guys aren't here yet.
Cool.
You waited for it.
You see a halfling woman trailed by the 3 people previously described, and they see, sitting at a chair, patiently waiting with a slightly blue tint to his tongue,
Why is his tongue out?
Dermir.
No, that's just what
You've seen the portrait.
Go ahead and describe your character while the art comes up, so everyone...
He does. This dwarf obviously has some screws loose. Okay, let's be real. Okay.
Split, if you-
What do you look like?
Oh, we're talking
What
about
do we
I
see?
look like?
Yeah, what do they see sitting there?
They see a true dwarf.
True dwarf.
Well, what's a true
The
dwarf?
dwarfiest dwarf to ever dwarf.
What does this true dwarf look like?
True dwarf looks like
A true dwarf.
He's got a big old beard. And some googly eyes.
Just take whatever you think a dwarf looks like in your mind.
Gimli.
Just think of a dwarf.
Gimli.
Put big googly eyes.
They're a little too far apart. And in heavy armor. And...
Heavy armor.
A dwarf.
Yeah. He's
I thought they were just born.
a true dwarf.
With scars.
And to find dwarf he
What's
is.
up?
And entering in, you see the same scene I described before you, and the same dwarven woman kind of walks up and is like, "Well, Ginny, I thought there were 6 of them." He said, "The other ones were supposed to be here when I got here. Where's Candle?" They went drinking again, didn't they? Please, everyone, take a seat. It might be a little while. Try some of the rock candy. Very nice. She walks by, grabbing a handful, and goes to a door back into further parts of the
I'll partake in the rock.
The blueberry rock candy is delicious.
That's what we get for being 6% sober and 7%.
Hey, I thought you were keeping I am. I am 1% more sober than you.
We decided at the beginning of the evening that Jaxie was going to, or
Was gonna
Lala
be
was
the
going to
DD.
be Lala would be the responsible one,
Yes.
who would be less drunk than me.
Which she succeeded.
You know
at. She
that like
succeeded.
last little bit of drink in any glass that's mostly
Right.
backwash? She just didn't drink that for all the beers throughout the night. That's why she's 1% more sober.
When the server came by and was just picking up the mostly empty cups,
She let
Lala
me
just
finish.
Lala just let those cups go.
Exactly. After what feels like a little longer than it should be, stumbling in, probably still playing music, two individuals burst into the room. Let's start by hearing about our friend Candle.
Candle is a Kenku in like ostentatiously fancy clothes, like not needlessly fancy, like, oh, that's a well-dressed individual, but like it's like bordering on gaudy.
Some would say gaudy.
Some would say gaudy.
Gaudy is a good word.
with a jaunty cap with a feather in it, and probably and a decent like bag of gear, weapons, like loots, just like overstuffed like an expedition pack, and drunkenly playing a lute, and probably mimicking the sound of that dude's like steel mandolin, but drunkenly.
It's like some open with like it's like steel guitar kind of.
And then it's an immediate rock candy.
And walking in, just trailing behind Candle. Let's hear about Lala.
Oh yeah, I'm only 5 feet tall, which is probably.
You can see Lala over the top.
I'm the size of a dwarf.
I am Lalaparipsis the third, and I am a gold dragonborn. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I am a bard that definitely hangs around with the wrong kind of crowd and loves the accordion.
Are you playing the
Yes!
accordion as you walk in with them?
Oh, my mother was
Okay. So you guys clearly trying to cover the fact that he's like very stressed about all
This is the team, huh?
Yeah. So I'm gonna see the Kenku walk in and drunkenly try to play an instrument and just kind of mumble to myself, "It's not a guide, is it?"
Is it?
I hope not. I don't know what Will's character is.
I knew we should have
We'll
stopped
find out.
off for another bronze brew before we came down.
There'll be plenty of time for drinking after your meeting. All 6 of you here. I'll let Ginny and the others know they'll be out shortly.
All right. Candle, nice to meet you.
I'm trying to write everybody's name down. I only have a couple of them. I've been trying to pick it.
Sage.
I've got Axel. I've got Theogar. I've got Xeraxis.
Dormir. Durmir, excuse me.
How do you spell that, or how do you want me to spell that?
I just spelled it Dermer.
Murder.
Are there 2 R's in that, or just one?
Dermer is murder. I'm murder.
Technically, there's 2 R's.
There's an R in the middle. And
In the middle, and yes, and an R.
Lala.
And it's a
You used
U R.
to-
and-
I
Murder.
want to say it right though.
I guess it's not murder. It's, with the way you spelled it, it's murder.
Alexis.
With an X, so
Ellipsis,
XARRAKSAS.
How weird was that?
Perinalor.
Lala parental ellipse.
Yeah.
I just
I'm getting.
I
it.
just
I'm
wrote.
gonna have it down so
I
I
just
can
wrote-
rapid fire it.
I just wrote Squire Law.
I got Sir Jaxie
What do you
Hashfrani Axel.
Candle.
Jackson Trick.
Jaxel.
How can I
I'm just gonna
possibly
do
remember that?
Also, by way of
I'm just gonna
introduction,
write
I will
Lala for
pass
yours.
out
Yeah,
a
that's fine.
candle to everybody.
Cheers.
What kind of candle?
Just
The wax kind.
yeah, the wax kind that you like.
I'll put it in a little pouch that has other candles in it.
Yeah,
I'll
one more
just put it
candle.
with my stuff, I guess.
Everyone had candles. Remove 5 candles.
I have. I believe what my character sheet says is a bag of candles.
You have a long.
No,
candle.
sorry, I have 30 candles, so I'll mark off 5. Those I did keep track of. The chalk I did not. I just wrote just a whole bag.
Just a lot of stuff.
Spell?
XARRAKSAS. Xeraxis.
SAS?
Yes.
Has everyone gotten what they need from each other there? After a bit of
This is all of us just
awkward
shaking
like
hands.
handshaking and bits of like, oh, it's your name, your name, your name, your name, kind of get the very baseline of acquainted before door opens and you see Jenny walk back out and she said, well, come on then.
stumble your
Yes,
way
ma'am.
in.
I'll be the first to follow her.
Okay.
Try and get assistance from some of these
I'll be like second behind, I guess.
Participated with the mirror, so brave.
You're clearly sobering up. You're remembering more of the words.
Thank you, sir. No.
And walking into this, leaving this kind of entry area, there seemed to be a way to go down here, but exiting out this back door, it seems like this is a smaller one of the large stalactites, and it goes straight to a rope bridge that goes across to a much larger stalactite, and entering into the doorway that
How
leads into
far off the ground are we?
from the, I mean, you're
Like
close
on the
to
rope
an
bridge.
area along the side that has access and stuff, but like if you look down over the bridge, you are easily looking down 500 or more feet. To like
Silly,
some,
we're
and that's
underground.
500 or more feet to like a large causeway spanning the chasm below you. It's not like to flat bottom of this cavern. This is a massive cavern with large causeways and arches going all over the place.
Type of height that makes you wish you could fly.
Can I try to do a backflip?
On the bridge,
Yes.
give me an acrobatics.
Can I make sure I'm off the bridge? And
You don't know this is happening until she starts doing a backflip.
So acrobatics is plus.
First, roll me a Constitution save.
Okay, so just roll that. Plus 1. 16.
Okay, you are sober enough that you don't have disadvantage. Roll me an acrobatics check.
This is plus 7. So 18.
18. Kind of walking like, and she kind of, without missing a beat, like kind of presses against one of the wooden slats along the bottom of here, and gracefully does a black flip, lands with a flourish, and goes right back to playing it without missing a beat. Very graceful.
Just 'cause
for
you
how
can.
drunk she is.
Just because you can.
Like they were just doing a lot of like Jim from the Office.
Which one of you is Dwight? Absolutely.
yeah.
And I'm going to be over here as Stanley.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You all cross the bridge, some of you with a flourish, and enter into this kind of larger area, and it has a hallway that spans, it has multiple doors set up. The first one on the right has a little brass like nameplate put on it that says Vickelroy Enterprises on it. And underneath, owner Drarian Vickelroy.
I would like to walk up to the door and instead of knocking, just mimic the sound of knocking.
Okay? You go up and open your beak and then Jenny kind of shoves beside you and opens the door and walks in.
I'm very drunk.
And you can see little piles of coin and paperwork across a large desk. The office seems like it was moved into some time ago, but has never fully been moved into with the way things are kind of scattered throughout the room. Organized, but a lot of stuff and scattered throughout. And looking up, you see an exceptionally ugly gnomish individual. Very gnarled, old, wrinkled features. Old beyond his years. He doesn't look like a particularly aged gnome. Just one who's not aged well. He fell off the ugly tree, hit every branch on the way down, this guy. But he looks up. So this is it, huh?
We're the crew.
Welcome! Happy to have you as part of Vickelroy Enterprises. Are you all ready for the contract?
Certainly.
Sure.
So, to begin with, I know all of your names, and I think I know which is which off of brief descriptions I've gotten. We've got... You must be... This is, of course, Axel, the business partner. For those of you who aren't aware of this whole situation, Axel is not going to necessarily be an agent with you all. He has bought into the company. He will be going on expeditions when we get there. That's a conversation for later. But for the time being, it doesn't mean he's your boss necessarily, but he does own the company you work for, partially.
I give him the deep bow.
Right. Lala,
Sorry, I gotta
you're
start with
the
a
knight,
constitutional
is that right?
Okay.
At your service.
And you must be Zaraxis.
I straight up
Heard
fall
you can
over
handle
giving-
yourself in a brawl.
I
so
fall
bruises are
over
good.
quite hard giving a deep bow. As in a critical fail on an acrobatics check. Fall over quite hard.
Like, thump. And Candle, I can see things haven't changed. Dermir, correct?
Yes.
Welcome. And is that Brother Dermir?
I'm no longer a part of the family of Stowe.
clanless then?
Yes, I suppose.
Well, welcome to Amir Clanless, nevertheless. And you are, Theogar of House, whatever it is? Yeah.
Cravenous.
Craven, yeah, very good. Just understand, you're an employee, no special treatment just because your family's purchased something, whatever. We all have the same goal here, to be financially successful. Just don't expect any special treatment because you got fancy blood, alright? Dwight look. So, my business venture here is twofold. I am going to be offering you all employment in essentially 2 businesses. 5 of you in one of them, all 6 of you in the other. One business is Vickelroy Distribution. That is what I need agents for, people to help kind of be boots on the ground, negotiators, the like, who are going to be helping us build the really stable, actually business side of this business, which is buying and selling things and making money. That is what the majority of your time is going to be spent doing at the start here while I work through some unfortunate paperwork due to outstanding circumstances outside of my control, of course. Second piece of this 2-headed dragon of business is going to be Vickelroy Expeditions, which will be our eventual soiree. Well, I'm not going down there. Eventual soirees into the Underdark, where treasures and glories will abound and we'll all be made very rich in a less miserable or expected way, the same way that a distribution company will just make us money while we're hopefully making big money on these expeditions. What your job will entail as agents are going to be going around and setting up contracts. At the moment, I have a contract set up with one of the local clans, and that is what started this, but I want to get my hands in as many pots as we can. So it's really going to be on you to hit the ground running, go forth, start negotiating these contracts, and from there, we'll hopefully be able to get ourselves the correct legislation to be able to go on these Underdark soirees in a way that's not massively expensive up front. Is that all kosher? Makes sense? Tracks?
Sounds good. Well, this one doesn't really affect me directly, so that's more for you guys.
Well, you're going to be a part of that too, unless you want a business to fit.
Fair.
At the moment, we should be making enough money usually that you're, that you should be just fine, but, you know.
Yeah. Kneecaps.
You want to keep them, at least 2. Unless you're one of those species what's got extra ones. I assume there's some of those. They got lots of joints in those things, huh?
Some of them. There's things down there with more kneecaps than you've ever even heard.
I like the idea that you say that while I'm drunk.
It's only kneecaps.
Well, I have 2 contracts encompassed within them that I'm going to need all of you to sign. These are legally binding, and they will hold weight in a court of law, even in dwarf towns like this. So maybe read or think about it before you sign. If you have any trepidations, I'm happy to explain. For the sake of this, I'm probably not. You're probably going to blindly sign it. Those of you who blindly sign it, you blindly sign it. I'm probably not going to read the entire contracts, you guys. If you want to do it on your time.
I wanted to just glance through it.
But just for a kind of rundown of basically what they say. Everyone who signs this is joining this company. The rules of the first contract for Vickelroy Distribution, everyone who signs it is going to be paid a once every 2 weeks wage at an agreed upon rate. If you sign this and do any of the following things, you will lose your right to that wage and potentially be terminated. And that's essentially doing anything that the company wouldn't want you to do, or making the company look bad, or attacking each other, or refusing to do what the company tells you to do. That kind of stuff. They may give you guys bonuses based on what you do, but they're never required to. But they reserve the right to give it, and to only give it to who they feel like giving it to, even if you're all a part of the good thing that is getting rewarded. Anyone who is found guilty of breaking laws, it is your problem, not theirs, even if you're working as an agent of theirs when you do it. They reserve the right to pay your legal fees, but they do not promise to do so. Anyone who is killed or rendered incapable, made comatose, non-sentient, or similarly not fully coherent, or is involuntarily removed from the midst of the company, for a prolonged period via things like interplanar banishment or spiritual transference. All of these are covered in the contract. Essentially, your unpaid wages are to be retained by the company unless you have designated somebody as an inheritor, which we'll get to in the next section. If you have not designated someone to whom you want your effects and your unpaid wages given, those things are retained by the company. They also retain your body and will be responsible for your last rites at their discretion what they do for those. So basically, if you die and you don't have somebody that you've listed as an inheritor, all of your personal items are the property of the company. If you die while acting as an agent of the company. You may be given authority to negotiate, but it is not a blanket statement that you have authority. If you negotiate a deal without explicit authority given, then you are responsible for any financial or legal recompense therein, and you must always negotiate to the best of your ability in the name of the company. Anyone who dies or is absent, the company stands in for them in any meetings or accounts, and failure to provide a satisfactory reason for why someone doesn't show up from the rest of the group can result in termination if you're being sketchy. Unwillingness to follow that can result in termination for any reason the company decides. And that is for Vickelroy distribution. There is a large open space there and a calligraphy pin that a lot of you can sign, except for you, Axel. You don't have to sign that.
Okay. So space at the bottom here.
What paperwork do we need to do to
Remember to sign it as
I just need to state it and have it written out from me. Now I'll keep it in
Who's
documents.
this Jocelyn?
It's a screw pen.
Oh wow,
It's
it's even a lot. It's even like a.
It's a calligraphy pin. Yep. Do your best.
Write in my brother as my inheritor.
Okay. The other half of this contract is essentially all signatories will be taking part in expeditions for Vickelroy expeditions. You have to read and sign this one. Essentially, so financially, the way that expeditions are going to work with this company, you are, by signing this in agreement, entitled to one employed party member share of an expedition. This is an equal portion divided amongst all party members employed and active in that expedition of 3/5 the total expedition yield. Essentially, 3/5 of everything that is found on an expedition is divvied up amongst everyone who's there. The remaining 2/5 is the property of the company and their financial gain. You forfeit your right to a share if you attack another person unprovoked in the party or voluntarily desert the party. This unwilling desertion can be overlooked so long as soon as you're able to return, you do. You forfeit a half of your share and face potential termination if you endanger another person through action, inaction, or gross negligence. You are solely responsible or indirectly, unintentionally for the death of another person in the party, solely responsible to fail a goal of the quest of the expedition by your actions, or you're found stealing from the party or the company. If someone is killed, rendered incapable, or removed from the midst, the similar effects of that last one, same sort of thing. Their share is retained by the company, unless there's an inheritor. If someone is killed or rendered incapable while on an expedition, it is everyone else's responsibility to bring back their body or what is left of it if it does not endanger their lives, so that last rites can be performed. If you have not designated an heir, same thing. All your belongings while on an expedition that you have with you are the property of the company. Non-monetary treasure, magic items, the like, are converted to a amount value and are going to be that value chosen by the company. Valuation is their responsibility, and added as the total yield of treasure. You can choose to take that, essentially choose to have some amount of your money be paid out in those items instead, if you want to keep those. If you do so, and someone else also wants to do so, then both of you may place secret bids at a minimum of the value of the object. Whoever has the higher bid gets to keep it as their portion. Items found that are...
I assume they pay the difference, or the difference is taken out of their share?
Yes, the difference taken out of their share, or they have to pay the difference, exactly. Any items found during the expedition that you would like to use to aid in the expedition, you can do at your own discretion, knowing that if you lose damage beyond repair or damage to a significant loss of value, it is your share that is taken out of in the end. Similarly with consumable items, if you consume a consumable item, it is taken out of your share if it's something found during the expedition. Same sort of thing, they stand in for dead or absent people. If you're sketchy about it, they might fire you. Company is willing to guarantee arbitration, so if you guys have an argument about who deserves what, they will arbitrate it. And there's more specifics in the liabilities, how many days you have to do rebuttals and the like. And there is a clause that the company reserves the right to use mind-affecting magics and alchemics with the sole goal of ensuring truthfulness. In any arbitration hearings, any member unwilling to submit to such means forfeits their right to arbitration and or will be determined the liable member of the arbitration. Unwillingness to follow any of that can result in termination and loss of any unpaid shares of expedition.
Should go first.
There we go.
You have to sign this one as well.
I do. I am. Nerds.
Nerds having to actually sign things.
This is something I would have done. That's why I appreciate it so much.
They're just stealing my picture.
There we go. See, the
If
trick
you
is
guys
to
like to
figure
know what you've agreed to later off camera, you can read more thoroughly through it. But I've given you a pretty, a real full rundown of what they essentially say.
Out of character. Well, I mean, it's not like it's actually legally binding to us in real life.
Not as like human beings, but
yeah.
as your characters. Like if you break this contract, they can seek legal reprimanding towards.
We're gonna go to dwarf court.
The Honorable Dwarf Judy.
Literally. I like that you did it all in Curse of Jocelyn. That's really good.
I am nothing.
I
She's a
like
fancy
it
fancy.
really
Xeraxis,
feels like
can write. He just can't write well.
it does feel like everybody has made some
That's one of the
efforts
easier words to write.
sign in character, which I really appreciate.
Thank you.
Upon signing this, he'll
Hey,
clap his hands
little-
together and excitedly
Can you come here?
welcome
Dr.
all to Vickelroy Enterprises and all associated businesses and subsidiaries.
Any other drinks while the contract signing's going on?
I'll take one, please. Any old cold one.
I'll put danger weapon.
I had 2 sodas.
Anybody else?
I'm good.
Gracious.
He lets you all know that each of you, if you look down the rest of this hall, there is essentially a total of 10 rooms in this kind of area of this in this large stalactite. Each of you have your own. You can have a bedroom, office, whatever you want. It's your space. It'll be a decent sized room that is unfurnished, and you can put whatever you want in there. Entering in, there's a bed in each of them.
I was hoping
And
we
a
had a
small
warehouse
desk.
so I could just sleep on one of the top shelves.
If you'd be
I'm
less
sure there is a
comfortable on the bed
warehouse.
and more on, you can sit on top of the table or on the floor or whatever.
That'll be
you want to
fun.
sleep. But yeah,
I'm sure there is a warehouse somewhere.
I'd rather sleep at the warehouse, honestly.
I'll take your room.
I'm just you can have your room and an office. That would make sense. Do we have a warehouse?
there is a warehouse. A majority of the wares that we have are stored topside though.
Makes sense.
It's exported from here to that warehouse, distributed from there.
I'd rather sleep at the warehouse.
Quite the walk every morning.
Bit of a commute.
Sober.
He will go on to say that
I only drink when I'm not
the
working.
current deal that you have
Now I'm working, so I stopped drinking.
is with the Flintbeard clan.
Until we stop working again.
The Flintbeard clan is one of the local, forge clans. There's two great forge clans, the Flintbeards and the Grey Stomps. Flintbeard is the one you currently have a deal with. None of the others deal is struck with.
So Terragar also takes off his signature and stamps.
Ah,
Nice.
Like, made up a little.
Okay,
It's very...
is everyone signed on this? That is going to? True dwarf, huh?
I like the idea that Vickelroy just sees that just true dwarf.
True dwarf, huh?
True dwarf.
Legally binding as far as I'm concerned.
It's got his first name on it. No, Bossman, with the contract with Flintbeard, are you expecting any trouble with Greystomp?
Now, they don't like each other. What I'm expecting is that Grey Stomp will not do business with us in 1,000 years, because Grey Stomps have, no offense to any relation, Grey Stomps have their smithy hammers so far up their asses they won't talk to anyone who's got a beard down to their toes. They're very dwarfy dwarfs, if you catch my meaning. That's why we're doing business with the Flintbeards, because they're very forward-thinking. They were the first people to really first dwarves to kind of adopt surface business, and we're happy to work with us. Quick rundown of the other major clans that we could try to do business with. God vaults. Some of us are doing business with them, but there's no real mercantile work that can be done with a big scary bank. Sky Gods, a bunch of soldiers and cops. They're not going to do us any good. Bronze Tap, very lucrative if we can get involved in that beer trade. Apparently that's kind of tough cookie to crack at times. Ruby Fists, hard to get an audience with. Very valuable. They're a big mining clan. Lots of valuable minerals, materials. There's the Stone Bones. Unless you know somebody who's a carver who can get on the inside, their stoneworks will probably be out of our reach. It'll be hard to get in there. If you can, very lucrative, all the same. High quality stone and fine stone works, statues, the like. The Rune Hearts, the magical kind of clan of the area. Very useful, very wealthy. It's to be worthwhile. There's the Torch Throats, who are jewelers. The Torch Throats are very lucrative at very low cost to transport their stuff, but I think they have pretty long-standing trade contracts. There's a family of Stone, which you might have it in or not anymore with Dermir over here. They're pretty valuable for things like holy water. And also they have a strange forest, fungal forest they keep that the fungus that grows there can be used to make burn and waterproof pages. Very useful for spellcastery types on the surface. And some of the lesser ones, I mean, there's the Copper Knots. They're mercenaries. They're kind of hated by the rest of the dwarves. I don't know if there's any real business in working with them. The Black Latches are a bunch of artificers. Any and all of the clans you can get in touch with, leadership of, and start working this out. I give Blankets willingness to negotiate in terms of starting a deal. No specifics made until somebody who knows what they're doing is talking to them. No offense. He put a good word out there for the company and get things started. It'll be a very worthwhile.
So are we technically a mercantile company? Like as far as like transporting goods then?
We are. We're distributors. We don't produce, but we distribute.
Okay.
Dwarves don't like to sell on the surface. They like to sell to people who sell on the surface. That's where we come in.
You get that middleman money.
Absolutely. Upcharge. Very valuable.
I just
Breastplate? Yeah. Dwarven breastplate. Now we're talking.
It's got that little trademark next to it. The maker. I mean, it's literally like the maker's mark. Yeah.
If you see a dwarven sigil on your breastplate, you know it's going to keep you safe.
I do have. This might be a little bit out of character because I don't remember the details of this, but it's I have a contact that's a Ruby Fist. It's Liftrosa. Ruby Fist. That might be a good lead.
He said, well, if you know a Ruby Fist, I said they're hard to. The mines are almost entirely staffed by clanless. It's kind of the upper echelon that run the mines that are Ruby Fists. And from what I hear, getting an audience with them, you gotta know somebody. So if you know somebody, that might help us out.
I know two different members of two different clans. One for the Rune Hut and one for Greystomp. But Greystomp, very unlikely, not high up in the clan.
Yeah, I mean, Greystomp, like I said, if we could get contracts with both, I mean, that'd just double our yield and our output of fine crafted armors and weapons. The Greystomps are a hard tree to go barking on.
I only encountered the Greystomp once in my travels, so...
Rune Hearts, though, that might be worse
to go.
from there. They're a bit weird. I don't know. Mystic types.
Magic stuff.
You know, wizards. You get it. Wizards, they make me feel weird. I don't trust
Part of me really wants to
wants
to just cast like a small spell towards it, just be like.
You know that like magic. This isn't like an Epic 6 world. Magic is known and fairly frequently used in this world, but nowhere near everybody has it.
Yeah.
Prestidigitation doesn't make a whole crowd of people go. Oh! They just be like, oh, he's magical. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool trick.
I was trying. You know, my uncle was magic.
My dad could do that. He's a for-real wizard. And he'll banish your dad to hell.
He's a true wizard.
My dad could banish your dad to hell.
But yeah. As far as I see it, your first 2 weeks of employ begin right now. You have your rooms/offices, whatever you'd use them for. You have your mission ahead of you. Anything you can do that might get us in the good graces of local authority, not necessarily the Sky Gods, but the Crag Crowns especially, like leadership, any of the kind of liberal or the law-making bodies. would be very useful as well. Just help smooth over paperwork things so we can get started on expeditions as soon as possible.
We were told of people going missing as we entered. Might be something to look into.
It's
Something like that could
Amateur
certainly,
investigating.
if you can solve a problem like that, I'm sure the city would look on you brightly. If you do, I don't have any chance, I think, of getting it, but there is always the dwarf. There's a lesser clan of the city known as Dwarfkin. Any outsider who does a great service for the city can get instatement into that clan, and that is buku bucks. That is good stuff for helping paperwork move along. So that would be great if something like that could.
Sounds like a good idea.
I think we'll wait till you sober up for really consider that.
But
oh, I'm so
the way I look at it, when business starts and then the starting parts are concluded, this should be celebrated. And most of y'all don't know each other, so go grab. Well, some of you get some water. The rest of you maybe grab a drink, meet each other, discuss what your next moves are.
Candle.
She rolled for soberness again and got an 18 this time.
oh wow, you're
She's
really
sobered
sobered
up.
You're really
Nothing
sobered up.
nothing like signing a contract to really.
Wow, I must have been taking pulls off a hip flask this whole time. I have lost 3 soberness points. I'm down to 3% sober.
Does that fall, cracked your head? You got that concussion drunk.
That crossfade.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Get drunk, get a concussion, call that crossfaded.
Oh, candle. Candle.
Sure is, buddy.
Sure is, buddy. Yeah. Well, let's sit down and we can discuss our next move. Sounds like we have a couple of contacts that we can pull on, and we can talk about maybe doing some investigative work. That's the sort of thing you guys are about. But I'd like to hear about the what are they? The rune
Hearts.
heights. That
6
could be interesting
rune
to look
back
into
into
as a fellow magic man myself.
Yeah. I'd have to track down the particular rune heart I ran into. It's been quite some time.
You would know, Zaraxis, that the Runeheart you met was somebody who arrived because in the way back days, this person was supplying ritual candles and paints and stuff for large ritual circles with your previous compatriots.
Companions, I guess.
It seems like whoever they were paid the Runehearts to supply things for rituals, and this individual did some of that negotiating, and that's how you met them.
Well, that seems like a perfect.
Definitely.
Yeah, you have a business relationship.
I do have a past business relationship. Now, the details on that are to be determined.
Top secret.
As of right now, yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, sounds like a couple things to track down. What this Ruby Fist person that I talked to, what's their deal?
So, Liftrasa Ruby Fist, you would know, is essentially a kind of like their role would primarily be one of like they coordinate groups of miners and are like running a section of one mine or one smaller mine as kind of a foreman sort of position. Somebody who would boss people around in the mine setting and has mining knowledge. Not necessarily senior leadership, but somebody
But they're
who would have access to those conversations.
Okay.
Or at least know how those people work.
Right.
Yeah, Foreman would be a good person to talk to.
Yeah. Kind of the inside scoop, but you can kind of get the info before you go into the meeting. You know what I mean?
You're talking to a blue collar worker, but they understand what's going on at the higher levels.
Right.
Middle management.
Middle management.
Middle management, gotta love.
Yeah, those sound like some pretty good leads.
So if you want
start on.
to try and track down the people going missing, I know a guy who may or may not be of any help if he's sober.
So,
I know that's funny coming from me, but
Right. All right.
yeah. Well, guess we
Sounds like
can
some-
divert paths here a little bit, try to find our contacts.
I mean, honestly, if we could just find... So, with the Deep Delver's Red, would just one... If just one of us had one, would that do, or would it have to be in the company's
It would
name?
have to be in the company's name for a company expedition to go
Okay.
down it.
That's the like document that gives permission.
Yeah, Deep Delver's Writ is the document that is essentially your hall pass to go back and forth through the gate to the Underdark.
Man,
Other people can pay pretty outlandishly absurd cost to do an expedition, but without a Deep Delver's Writ, each time you're moving through, there's cost, there's paperwork, there's potential quarantine times. Like, the Deep Delver's Writ is your fast track back and forth, and kind of a must for big expeditions.
You're sitting in quarantine, and a guy with a mushroom growing out of his head walks up to the gate, flashes a Deep Delver Writ, just walks into the city. And it's just like,
Stupid bureaucracy.
Vlad guy is.
Vlad, he is the brother of the Queen of Darkcap.
Oh,
So the
he's
city
like-
above is where he has authority.
Well, that's not
I don't know
bad.
anything about it.
Oh, okay. You don't mention this. You're just asking. You're just
No,
getting
that Queen Cheraboga is the
Because-
half-brother of
She
Vlad
wouldn't be, or
Cheraboga.
he wouldn't be all that helpful for doing that.
Not the Deep Delver's
'Cause
Writ.
it- yeah, 'cause-
His authority stops once that gateway to Skygate starts, really.
if we could find a way to get a hold of a Deep Delver's Writ, that would be like, now that would be something.
That would be something.
I don't think I'll have much influence with the noble house and stuff.
Feeling like a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time with the guards. You just try to go around them, they're just so quickly like skirting
That's
side
what
to
that's
side.
That's why you just walk really far around them.
Oh man. They play college football. They did those drills.
Yes.
Well, we kind of have some direction. We have 2 contacts and a mystery we can try and solve.
Well, until I sober up, I probably shouldn't take the lead on anything. So. I can guide you around. I can guide you around the city, but I'm not gonna talk.
What time is it? Still afternoon.
I mean, it's a Dwarven city. It's always dark down here. There is, like, kind of strange, like, it seems like there's some sort of probably gas deposit or something, because there's, like, gas torches, essentially, that stay lit along the city, especially in areas of frequent traffic where non-dwarves would be, that wouldn't have dark vision. But you would know, you're guesstimating from when you left from up there, came down here, it's probably late afternoon, early evening at this point.
Okay. Then we could probably find my Refist friend, because she'll probably be getting off of work, so she won't be down in the mines. So I might be able to catch her. I feel like your thing is more of a business contact, so maybe we'll wait until tomorrow. So it's like
Maybe,
10
but-
hours.
But
Business
it
hours.
depends on if they're even here right now.
That's true.
Well, unless they be out on business.
That's true.
Potentially.
Allegedly. Okay. Well, I'd like to track down my Refist friend, who I should remember her first name so I can say
It's a
it.
weird one. Liftrasa.
Liftrasa.
As we're like walking around, I'll just keep an eye out for my contact with the rune hearts and just see if we bump
You
into
can kind of keep a lookout around. This is a city, and a big city. It's not so much of like I wander around until I run into somebody. If you do that, you'll be here for years. So
Yeah. It's like
you
wandering around
kinda
New
have
York
to
City
have some
looking for your
direction
buddy.
where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Are you expecting this contact of yours would be like going to a tavern for a
Yeah.
drink?
Could I roll, I don't know, like a knowledge or something to be like, oh, she did mention this bar that she went to, or
Sure.
like a past conversation that I had.
Okay.
Just roll me an intelligence.
Okay.
Just roll me a d20 at your intelligence modifier for how well you remember your friend Liftrasa.
What kind of clothes does she wear?
She's a miner, so
Oh.
probably mining clothes. 17.
17. You know that when you spoke to her in the past, she tends to wear pretty nice clothing. You'd assume that was not like in a mine, but you know she's the type to carry herself well, but is still a blue collar person at heart. So you don't think that she'd necessarily be hodgepodge in it. Or like hobnobbing with the rich and famous. She'd probably be more somewhere. If she's going to go grab something to drink somewhere, it'd probably be more middle of the road, like fun place. Yeah.
We want a place with good beer and good times, but not like a dive bar.
Bronze tap.
Bronze Tap. We're going
Maybe a window, but more likely bronze tap.
we're going to the Bronze Tap.
And those surfacers too have heard of the window, often referred to as the Dwarven window. It is a bar that exists down here that is where most business between surfacers and with surfacers is done. It's kind of a business hub, you know what I mean?
Because you could shove that business in Dwarven.
So you guys are heading to the Bronze Tap. You two clearly know exactly where the Bronze Tap
We
is.
just came from there.
And the group
We
is surrounded-
drunkenly stumble out the door. The bartender and most of the patrons go, thank goodness they're gone. An hour later, we kick back in the door. Somehow Candle's drunker than he was when he left.
And the group of you are starting to head towards the Bronze Tap.
I think it's
And heading that way, it's this big city. You have to kind of like You have to know the city to be able to move very well in the city because so many things are tiered in on different levels. You guide your drunk guide knows how to get to the bronze tap, drunk or sober though. And moving through, you're getting a pretty good chunk of the way there. You're moving through a semi-residential area with some decent stone houses, and you hear a kind of large crack and crumble up ahead, and clearly see part of a house kind of cave in on itself. And you see a guy who seems to have been like walking just outside of that house. You see like maybe just left that house, kind of like turn, freak out towards it, and like start looking around panicked.
Hold up, bud.
He kind of like turns. He's like, "My brother's in there. What's happening?" And he sees like kind of going, like he like reaches for the door, and a larger rock crumbles down and hits right, and he kind of steps back. It narrowly misses him, and he stumbles back.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Are there any entrances to the house left intact?
That entrance seems to still be intact. There's just kind of a larger, like maybe this large brick that's like landed in front of it.
I would like to just go straight. I want to just go straight on through.
Running towards the door. Yep. Seems like it is unlocked. What are the rest of you gonna do?
I thought there was like a rock blocking. I was like, I'll try and move it.
Yeah, it's not. It's like a big enough that if it landed on you, it'd jack your day up, but it's not like it's blocking the door.
I'll follow him in. Like
I'm gonna yell "brother" in that guy's voice.
Okay.
While I run into the house just to see.
I'll follow right behind Ken.
Hang on. Evens, odds. I slap you on the butt as you go past. Go get him, Tiger! And you get a guidance. So you'll get a
D4 on your next skill check. Rushing in here, you hear "brother" in that guy's voice, and you hear.
I'll run towards the moment.
Yeah. You move towards it. The others of you, the two of you are moving into that doorway. You are just outside the doorway, I assume, slapping him on the butt. Right. The other three of you, where are you guys moving towards? Are you staying out, or are you trying to rush in behind them?
While they're rushing and trying to save this guy, I want to like take a little bit look at the surroundings, try and figure out what just caused this.
Okay, give me a perception for what you can see and kind of notice in the area.
20.
20?
Wow.
A natural 20.
Critical hit.
Critical hit.
Wow.
You.
What's 0?
Welcome back.
I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, welcome back to D&D, man. What about the two of you? I'll tell you in a second.
I'll rush in with them.
Rush in, okay, rush in behind. And how about Lala? Where are you moving? Are you staying out, moving in?
I'm going right behind Candle, and I'm singing him a lovely tune to give him Bard of Inspiration.
Going some inspiration. So you'll have your D6, you'll have your D4 ready. You are running in behind them through the doorway, a little slower, dwarven legs and all. You rush in there, and you kind of round through a hallway, and you can see a section that's kind of caved in where you can hear what that kind of voice, that groan coming from, and start moving towards it. With your crit success check, this is not an earthquake. This is like, it looks like something collapsed out part of this house, and that caused the like structural integrity to fail and implode in on itself. Like a supporting wall that was there was all of a sudden not there, and it collapsed down in on itself. Candle rushing around that kind of corner and into what looks like a larger living space, probably kind of a sitting area. You can see a guy next to a pretty big pile of rubble and a large kind of caved-in hole, almost caveway. And it looks like, looking at him from this distance, go ahead and roll me a perception.
10 total.
10. It looks like his arm is pinned under the rubble. He's got one arm that looks like it's pinned underneath.
Okay. I will... The piece that's like pinning his arm, I guess I'll just try and lift if somebody else wants to drag him out.
I'll try and lift it.
You guys both rush in and get right up close to him to try and lift this piece. And as you go for the rubble, you clearly see that what looked like an arm pinned under rubble is absolutely not an arm pinned under rubble. It is a missing arm, clearly chopped off to a stump at the shoulder. And you hear a strange chittering up above your head. And that's where we're going to stop this episode of Skygate. Resuming next time with what's happening above.
Chittering.
Thank you all for watching, and thank you guys for playing. I'm super excited to start this campaign. I'm super excited for this wide open business venture before you and what you guys do next, and whether or not you survive the strange chittering above in the collapsed dwarven home.
Probably not. It's cool, I have a backup character already.
He's the inheritor of my current stuff.
Right. I would like to write my inheritor as backup character. You can't do that. That's not a real name. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.